Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to some EVE Online. Welcome also to sisi, the test server for EVE Online, where as you can see I'm joining another mass test and it should start in just a few minutes. This is again a pretty important mass test in my opinion. It's another one for the brain in the box feature that CCP is working hard on to get it to us, which should improve the performance of the game in general, but especially on session changes like when you jump through a gate or undock and things like that. It should smoothen out the calculations for your skills, your ships, your damage and all that good stuff. Now we've done one pretty big mass test previously, and I'm getting some hellos in local. Let's greet everyone there as well. So we already did a pretty major one. I think there were more than 400 people in the previous mass test, so everything was really tested out to the max. But there were some problems as well. We had really strong tie-dye during the actual fight and extremely long wait times and tie-dye, if I remember correctly, on gate jump. So we actually did an extra gate jump that was not planned, just to try and figure out what was happening. And for this mass test there's actually 1 or 2 extra jumps prepared as well, just to make sure that everything works. So far we're at 250 in local, so it does look like we've got fewer people. And can't I bring these guys together? Yeah, there we go. So it looks like we'll have fewer people in this mass test, but if that also means that the performance goes more smoothly, that is of course sort of welcome, because with the tie-dye it was pretty hard to keep up with everything that was happening there. But as I've said, it was a pretty massive mass test, and let me see, okay. It was good, of course, for Brain in the Box. We really did have to push the servers to see what issues remained with Brain in the Box. So let's hope they've been able to find some of the bugs, smoothen things out, and that this experience is going to be better. In the meantime, what have we got around here? Well, quite a few dreadnoughts already, so that's good for the post bash, because hopefully that one goes decently smoothly. And so yeah, some carriers here as well, but not too many supers. Am I missing anything? Nope, not really. That's a wyvern. I think that's a super carrier. No, that's just a... Is it a super carrier? I'm not sure. Yeah, it is a super carrier. Okay. Can also use the bombers and everything. But yeah, no titans to be seen so far. 266 in local, not that many on the gate. I'm going with the Armageddon right here, which is pretty much the fit that I also used to fend off some wingspan delivery guys when I used to live in a wormhole. That was a pretty awesome fight that she performed really well, and it's really become a staple of something that I'm willing to take into a PvP situation, just basically a buffer fit with quite some damage from drones and from rapid heavy missile launchers. Pretty good against smaller targets as well. So I think cruisers, battle cruisers should be my main targets if we do get to the fight at the end. And yeah, CCP Habakkuk, as usual, will normally lead this mass test. He gave us that message that it should just be a few more minutes. So hopefully at around 1700 EVE time, we'll take the jump. Over here we've got Nidhogger, pretty cool. And here is the first Titan, Erebus, pretty cool. And if it's not too many of them, then this actually does feel like it's a plausible situation, although capital heavy these days. A lot of people, I think, use the extra skill points to get into capitals that they've never flown before, and so these fights do tend to be quite heavy on the capital ships, and anything really small gets taken out pretty quickly. But the battleship, I think it could do pretty well. What's my fleet at? 80 members out of 291. Yeah, we could use some more in fleet W. And even ISD says that yeah, if you want to come join fleet W, we could really use the help. And oh, that's good that Gaia said that right there. I really should put up the frames per second monitor here just to see performance This is on a GeForce GTX 980, and so far, ooh, that's not something we see every day. That's a Revenant on a mass test. That's pretty cool. That is definitely pretty unique looking ship right there. Sasha super carrier, awesome stuff. It's pretty cool that someone is willing to bring that in. No real graphical changes are getting tested. Mostly, yeah, brain in the box, and hopefully they've gotten it right with this build. Hopefully we'll get a smooth experience on the jumps, fleet warps, boss bash, fight, etc. Okay, so unless there's like a real graphical problem that I notice, and so far not really, then we should probably make a petition, but otherwise it's all about server performance here, and the channel is set to default, so we really should be starting pretty soon here. I do like to join these mass tests just to get like a sneak peek of the current build that CCP is working on. Sisi is awesome to test out features before they come out, to test out chips and all that good stuff, but the mass tests give me an indication and give me confidence that everything will go smoothly with patching, or if there's issues, trying to help out here with bug reports is very useful, I think. And again, here we'll start in just a few minutes with the first jump. 300, not bad honestly, for a mass test. I would say a little bit above average if we do manage to reach more than 300 people already. It's less than the previous one, so hopefully we'll have a little bit less tie-dye. But it's definitely more than some of the mass tests that we've had since the summer, I think, or maybe late summer, something like that. I think we got like 200 or something like that on average. So a few more is not bad for a brain in the box test. Get some smaller ships coming in here as well, which is pretty good, because they could be Tengu and Sacrilege. They could be targets for me. Then we get a Nightmare. And yeah, a few skin ships, but not all that many of them. Meet at the gate, as always, that's our first step. And be ready to jump into XBV. Fleet up to 111. Okay, I think that's gonna start to be close to 50-50 at this point, honestly. 240. Well, you're still needing 100 independence. That's maybe a little bit much. Ooh, here comes an Orca. Cool. Bring an Orca to the fight. But that's actually a really good idea if you ever join these mass tests, to take all kinds of ships, just because if you encounter a bug that's dependent on the ship, you'll have done a really good thing for CCP, being able to squash it here and not when it's deployed on TQ already. So it's good to see all types of ships being brought here for testing purposes. And as always, for real problems and feedback, we can always use the mass questions channel here. So these are run pretty regularly. They're run quite smoothly and efficiently as well. The start's always a bit slow. They need, as always, a few hundred people to gather around and to get ready. Takes sometimes a little bit of time, but once it gets going, I would say 45 minutes, 50 minutes or something like that for a mass test on average, and you get a bit of a PvP fight as well. So it's all good so far. Frames per second still holding pretty nicely as a second Titan, an avatar, comes in here. You can just see how big they are compared to the entire fleet, and those are capitals. So then you can really go in here for some of the smaller stuff. Is there anything really small? Yeah, here we've got actually an Ares. Is he flying around in here? Just look at how tiny he is even compared to the capital ships. So as you can imagine, compared to the Erebus, that's just basically a flying city that's around there. Very nice, shows the scale. And you could, oh, maybe I could, can I find the Ares again? Unless we're starting, so I will try to also keep an eye on that. And how do I, how was it? Let me think here. Yeah, there we go. This will actually put the Ares in perspective. That's the super carrier. And then can I change my view? Can I still, now it's become so, yeah, it's become so small that it's almost impossible to give you to give you an idea of how big the Titan is in that view, but it's pretty damn big. We are very interested in 2 possible bugs. Please in mouse question if you encounter them. 1, if your resistance are not modified correctly in the fitting window, for example, no effect from the damage control. Okay. 2, if your shield is not updated correctly in the HUD when you're getting shot. Alright, 2 things to keep an eye out for, and that does mean that I may want to keep a little bit of an eye on the fitting window. And then let's activate this. Let's already give that a first test here. I'm getting a switch on the resistances here, which looks pretty normal. So I'll keep this open, and we'll check it out right after the jump. Maybe just keeping it open is going to have an effect. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. It's not how you would normally play the game. So we're not gonna assume that that's part of the problem. But once I jump in, I'll take a look at that, of course. Interesting that people would have noticed that in previous builds, because I didn't. I was too busy just trying to get my head around doing following the steps. But there's people that test pretty much everything out, and I think CCP definitely appreciates those people that do their best there. In the meantime, what's it looking like? 313 local, 133 members. Yeah, that's starting to look okay. I still think Fleet X will have a few more members and be able to take us out pretty easily. They generally tend to win, I think, but in the meantime we do have another Leviathan, not in the fleet, and he's in the fleet. So 2 against 1 sounds about right for the general situation. Questions, taking damage, but it's not showing in the ring around the capacitor, for instance. Alright. Okay, we'll definitely keep an eye on those 2 during this mass test, although they don't feel or seem game breaking. If those do happen and we can find out what exactly is happening, that could be helpful, of course. And in the meantime, I think we're pretty much ready. If you look at the fleet that's assembled here, so I think we'll be jumping pretty soon. Hopefully. So someone's already pretty much confirming that that's what's been happening. So, well, let's hope that it does work out. We will see. Tiny little Ares. Let's go back up on my ship, zoom out again. Performance, that seems okay, and I'm not really noticing any major problems. So I would say let's get ready. While fleets are getting assembled, getting ready. Although it's not that big of a deal. Get ready for the first jump in about 10 seconds. So here we go. Don't jump yet. Yeah, exactly. Don't press it right now, but I'm ready. It's selected. 3. Let's see how it performs here. 1. Jump. And I'm clicking. So that animation was decently smooth. We're going through. What kind of message do we get here? Nothing. Okay, that's pretty impressive. I must say, we'll start aligning towards the sun. That's where the warping beacon is generally located, and that's one of the smoothest jumps I've ever had. And with 330 people doing the same thing, I honestly think that that's not too bad. So let's get in on the request from CCP. Let's take a look at this here. Activation, and my resistances are up, so I actually think that this is looking alright. Of course, when we get into combat, we'll have to take a look at the shield stuff. But so far, Looking good, and a very smooth jump, so that seems to have worked out quite nicely. The question is, will we see some tie-dye when everyone comes in? We're at 253 now, so we still need about 100 people. And that was another performance issue that I had noticed in the previous test, that we had really heavy tie-dye when everyone was coming into the system. But honestly, align, yeah, the boss warping, I should be aligned to that still. This has been very smooth. Pretty awesome. There's people that are jumping ahead a little bit, which is understandable. The post bash takes a little bit of time. And as you can see here, the entire fleet nicely spread out. I do love this view. Honestly, this is this is pretty cool. Here is my little ship, and then all of the other ones. Just aligning there. Really a nice view. And some people are gonna start on the post bash to save a bit of time. I'm gonna wait for the command as is requested. And ooh, that's pretty cool. Right over my camera here. Caracal, I think. Oh, it's Caracal Navy issue. And yeah, now of course I did lose the boss warping. So there we go. I'll activate the damage control to be safe. Maybe I'll open up the window now. See if, yeah, that still looks the same. So that's alright. And, well, a warp. Okay, here we go. Fleet warp, looking pretty good. Performance is pretty good as well. And nothing too special to report. Now, next up, the post bash. It's one of the most controlled but demanding activities for the server, because we'll have 320 ships, something like that, firing at the boss. That'll be a lot of calculations. Performance does generally go down substantially on that as well. But it's always a pretty good metric, I think, for CCP to see how the performance is. So we'll take a look at that. Landing on the grids also, most people should be there, so we could see a big drop or something like that. That's what usually happens. And here is actually a nightmare with me. In warp, heading towards the boss, less than 1,000,000 kilometers to go. So we'll land right at 0. I'll move a little bit before I deploy the sentry drones, and I will just start firing. Although my damage will be negligible in all of this. Let's see how the grid loading is. Honestly, that's decently smooth. Of course, there's always that popping in of some assets like the shields, but nothing really problematic to report here. That went pretty smoothly, and I don't think we saw like a major drop in the performance or anything like that. So I'll target the control tower. Here comes the fleet warp with a lot of dreadnoughts. So although the shields are already at 67%, I am diving underneath the fleet. Now we'll have even more firepower, and it really doesn't look like this this bash is gonna take too long. So let's start to slow down. Let's add some missile fire. There come even more missiles. And on this one, 30 frames per second zoomed in. Seems okay, and then I'll zoom out here while I can now drop the guards. Start attacking. Zoomed out. Still 30 frames per second. Fully zoomed out. Come on. Let's get some more FPS here. Around 40. Okay. Well, honestly, it's not bad. I actually feel pretty confident in zooming in and out a little bit. And I can also place my camera like right in front of the fleet, so that you get all the incoming fire. They're all in a big ball. Everyone is firing, so obviously 20 frames per second. This is a bit more demanding for the server. I'm also running this at pretty much max settings, except of course I won't have any brackets up. But okay, I would say that this feels pretty nice as performance so far. No tie-dye to report. Shields are at 50%. And And that's looking quite okay. And my guard misses control tower completely. How the hell does a guard miss this big standing still big structure that's standing still? But somehow, yeah, couple misses. On the guards, here is the revamped Dominic's. That looks pretty cool. Also probably moving to set up some sentry drones. And that's the ammo. If you experience any bugs, alright. Oh, actually took a little bit of damage. Let's take a look at the percentage. 95% for this, so could have been a smart bomb or something like that. And that actually looks like it does work. Here the shields update correctly. So I'm not experiencing either of the two bugs that CCP has warned us about so far. Even the guards, it must have been a smart bomb. Obviously, look at that. But it's updated correctly. Maybe if they come back, let's see if it goes. Shields 93%. Still going down. What am I taking damage from, I wonder? Okay, we'll see. Add some missiles here once again. One guard keeps missing. Why is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 miss. And those are my missiles. Oh, finally it's full hits. Okay, I thought that maybe one of them was really in trouble. But it looks okay. We are at 23%, so past the highest recharge rate. This pulse bash will not take too long. 354. Honestly, this is not bad. Pretty good numbers for this mass test here. So that's going to be a good test for Brain in the Box. And so far, I feel pretty good about this performance. Here the shield updating does happen. Here, yeah, a bit hard to see. We've got 3 bars left to go. But on the drones, it's definitely updating. And then the performance, yeah, 20 frames per second. Of course, we do have quite a bit going on grid at the moment. Even the Titans are in on the action. Pretty cool. Those missiles, which are probably the size of frigates or even cruisers, hitting that. Now, one special step, if you are in a player corp and have roles for adding corp fitting, please add 1 or 2 corp fittings. I'm not sure. I've never done that before. So would that be in fitting? Browse, and then do I have to like add? Can I do something with this? Personal fitting, corporation fitting. Okay, I've got none of them here. And so what I could do is probably put a couple of these fits in here. So we get like Bruce Willis and then Mordus Hunter Myrmidon. We'll go into corporation fittings. And then can I just drag and drop that? Nope. Import. Nope. Well, I don't really have anything at the ready here. So let's see if there's anything else that's given us. Okay, well, I wish I could just drag and drop a fit in here. Import from file, can't really do that, and nothing imported on the clipboard. That would mean I have to copy paste certain files. So, well, I wasn't really able to be too helpful there. Not sure what they were looking for, but I couldn't drag and drop. Maybe that's a problem. It's something I would expect to be able to do, but alright. We'll see. I'm sure that there's plenty of actual alliance leaders or guys high up in the chain there that that will have been able to test. And if I'm not mistaken, we're heading for Poitot next. Stargates, Poitots. I'll align. So, well, I'll have to look into that. Obviously, importing corp fittings could be pretty good for our corporation as well. In the meantime, 96% and 2 bars here. So that's updating nicely. That looks okay. And warp to the Poitot gate straight away. Okay. Stargates, Poitot. Warp it in 0. I think we'll do a few extra jumps because jumps to other systems were the problem last mass test. And so onwards we go. But okay, player corp, adding corp fittings, couldn't drag and drop for sure. Not sure if I should be able to. And I don't really have files ready for that, so we will see. This time I'm with a rattlesnake. On a long warp. Another 1,000,000 kilometers. Okay, we'll get there pretty soon. One bomb shouldn't do too much, so we actually have a couple of rats on the gate here. But if I'm not mistaken, we'll get ready for another jump here. Another mass jump. Whoa, 2 Nixes. That's pretty cool. Obviously, that is bound to be one player, I think. That was pretty cool. Too bad that we become like this tangled mass of ships. Would be cool if we were a bit more spread out, but of course a warp in at 0 is a warp in at 0. And again 350. The Titan's coming in, so I think we should be ready. Performance, as you can see here, without all the shooting, we're back to like 60 frames per second. That's all looking alright. And even more ships into the big ball. Okay, I'm still in range, luckily. I'll actually do an approach here as well, just to make sure I don't get bumped out of the way. And then let's do this. Let's do this jump. If it's as smooth as the previous one, then they've definitely improved it. Some people don't want to wait. They don't want to take the risk, I think. We are ready. I think we should be ready. Oof. That was, yeah, look at that. Little performance hitch right there, although we're back quite okay. And it's not as drastic. Normally, I think we get much bigger drops. So, it's still somewhat okay. But in 5. Five, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath and jump. Okay. Animation pretty okay. Jumping through. Keep an eye on the tie-dye. Feels a little bit longer than the previous one. Here's the tie-dye, 82%. Okay. And we're still waiting. Tie-dye, 68%. I am coming through, I think. But we are hit again by the tie-dye. So something happened, and this jump is like the previous jump into Poitols that took a long time. Was a bit of a problem. Now I'm there, so the cloaking timer is here, but we come in here and we are at 46% tie-dye, so around half. It's not as bad as the previous time, but it's obviously not how we want to experience too many jumps, I think. The slow motion over here is pretty cool though. God damn it, just missed it. Slow motion sinos are pretty cool. But yeah, this is a bit of a performance hit for the server, absolutely. And I think we'll be going back. Let's see, Stargates. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'll actually orbit that one at 1,000. Get back in on the gate. Yeah, after the jump, reapproach the gate, so we'll do that. Okay, in the meantime, we're up to 310 in local, so I think most of us have gone through, but there was obviously a little bit of a performance hit there. So we'll reapproach. Let's see if we can actually jump back. Let's again do a quick check here. That looks alright, and my shields 99%. We actually get the animation on the overview here as well. For me, it's still looking okay, except for that performance hit. And we actually have a few people, I think, that are stuck in the habit of fighting in Poitot, which is not the idea. They're actually firing at the gate. Someone is actually firing at the gate here, which looks pretty cool. So here we go, reapproaching. In range should be good. And let's see what the jump back will do now. Ooh, actually just saw all the ships jump into different positions all of a sudden, so a little bit, yeah, I think that the server is actually having a few issues at the moment. That's my feeling, although we're not really seeing it too badly. I think that the metrics of the server at the moment could be pretty interesting for CCP. So let's keep it up. What's that sound that I'm hearing? Probably the gate, I actually think. Right, that's... interesting. I feel like we're actually okay now, but... we'll see how we do. In 30 seconds to jump back to XBV. Okay. And 340 people. Alright. Let's see how the server handles this one. Distances are right. Cap chains are up now, so let's see. And we actually have some people that just want to have their fight right here, but honestly, the jumps, they're what CCP wants to improve a lot with Brain in the Box, and so hopefully this will help make that happen. Let's 3, 2, oh god damn it. 1 and jump. Just wanted to show the names of the people that were actually still firing right there. Okay, jumping back. Let's see how this one goes. 167, that's the classical message that I tend to have on a jump, but that's worrying. 82% tie-dye again. So we're being hit by this once again. 68%. So it's 32% less time passing. Looks like I crossed some sort of threshold. We're back at 56%. And pretty soon I think we'll get the timer. But yeah, the first jump went so smoothly. That was amazing. Probably the best jump I've had on the test server. And now here, Poitot, I'm back. There is still that performance issue, 50% tie-dye. So yeah, we're not entirely there yet. Here are the slow motion sinos. That looks really cool. You can also, of course, see a bit of the wormhole effect in that. Very nice, but of course we'd all like to see this happen without tie-dye. Align to FD, so Stargates FD, align. I'll just activate this again. We'll keep this up, but definitely getting that that change here in the resistances, so that looks good. Still at 99% for my shield. And let's see if it actually changes when the damage control is turned off. As we align to FD, where we'll normally hold the gate camp and the PvP fight. And that one's off, so these are gone, and then I reactivate that and the resistances are back. So yeah, this seems to be working for me at least. And for the damage control, there could be other modules that we need to check, but for this one I can confirm that it seems to be working. Here's again a site that I do like, fleets aligning. And we are fleet W, jump to FD and prepare the gate camp. Okay, FD, jump, off we go. And I don't think I did anything. Here again, little performance drop, double drop even, coming off of the grids. Probably reloading with some of the other guys in fleet here. At least it's not a long warp, so that's good. And here it's pretty smooth. Again, let's take a look at this jump. Should be around 150 people coming through. Which I did say jump, I think, so I'll just let it go for now. Or am I wrong? That's the Titan gun. That's before me. I don't think that's entirely normal, so I'll just press jump here again. And now I'm actually jumping. Okay, strange. Maybe I got the wrong right click and I did an actual warp. But this is the jump I'd like to see. Pretty smooth, straight through. So no problem on that. Got a couple of capitals sinoing in. And yeah, let's get ready. Damage control on, get some speed going. I'll just orbit at 15. I should be good for anything else jumping in. And we'll look for something to catch and destroy. Well, here we've got an Omen that's not in the fleet. Should I just go for him? You know what? I'm not gonna do it. CCP has, I think Normally you could just straight go for those guys that are not in fleet, but until CCP tells us that the PvP starts, I tend to just obey the rules here. No PvP until that starts normally. But I think we'll start to see some firing pretty soon, because people want to use their guns, of course. We are playing EVE Online. Fleet X is gonna come in. I'm actually going to launch my ogres to be ready. Here we have a Nemesis. Oh, he's gone. Okay. A little bit of laser fire from somewhere. So that's the Nightmare, and he's actually... Let's see if he's being fired upon. He's white, not from the fleet. And man, okay, that took a long time. He's not being fired upon yet, but we'll be ready if we have to. Well, I'm not really heading in the right direction. Get a bounty payment, so someone died. Yeah, of course they do start firing, you know. The itchy trigger fingers. But let's show some patience. Here's Cockroach. Here we've got a Golem as well. Pretty heavy target too. Let's see if that one's being attacked. Not yet. Yeah, now the Nightmare is. So we'll just add a little bit of this. Can I target that? Range 37. Alright, we'll add some cap pressure on that as well. Can I see the effects? Yeah, there it goes, and he actually blows up already. And we get a Naglfar here. And the Moral's being attacked too. Target him just in case. I'm actually heading in the right direction for that guy. His shields are going down. And if they keep being impatient, come in here one by one, then they'll just get cut down. But yeah, come on, CCP. Let's get this show on the road. And the Paladin as well. A little late for that. Jaken, try and get in the fleet now. He's actually getting attacked quite heavily. Okay. Maybe I should go for that Moros. Why the hell not? Let's put some cap pressure on him as well. We can still try to switch. He's not that far away. I should be okay. We'll just add it. And Fleet X should be coming in 5 seconds. We won't be on top of this guy just yet, but you know what? I'll just get ready here. Return an orbit. Circadian Seekers on the gate. And now Fleet X should be coming in. Let's see if we can find some juicy little targets here. If anything comes in, here's the bubble. Golem should be gone, or what's the problem? Here we've got a stiletto. Let's see if that would be funny if we could actually grab that stiletto. I don't really think so. Barghest would be something good to get off the field for the fleet. He's too far away. Alright, then we'll just straight up approach that Barghest, activate everything, note him down, and he's gone. That was strange again. Alright, we get Raven Navy issue, Vexor Navy issue coming in range. That's still alright. Let's get to work on those. Oh my god, look at my ogres taking damage already. We can start engaging you. I'll put some cap pressure on you. Try to approach you. See if I can actually get in range. That blows up. That's good. We get more stuff coming in. Awesome, so here we get a Balgorn, pretty important target. A Legion, that would be a good test, I think. And a Gila as well. So for now, we're on the Raven, the Vixor Navy issue here. Actually need to start repping a little bit. He is down. What I would like is to actually grab that guy. So let's get in on the Legion if I can. Tie-dye, yeah, a little bit, but everything is pretty responsive, and I was actually having fun trying to kill some stuff. Anything else? Hurricane in range, that's nice. Let's see if I can actually... Ogre's full misses, that's not too good. So he's bound to still have some sort of speed. We're going to... let me see here. Ogre keep missing, so I'll put my Ogres on the Hurricane already. We'll be approaching you. Cap empty, that's alright. Cap injected. Just straight up gonna use the cap charges here. And I'm being neutered as well by something. By the Legion, actually. Okay, interesting. Hurricane escaped my grasp. But the Legion is... oh, I'm neuting the Legion. Okay, wrong. I actually made a mistake here on the animations. And we'll bring these guys back since he's coming into range from me, which is probably a bit of a mistake, because I can get a rep cycle off as well, and I'm decently buffered. Let's see if we can do something to that Legion. In the meantime, we've got Borax. We could try. Can't I target you, Borax? Oh, he's gone. Okay. Rorcal, that's alright. Armageddon. So that one he dies, he's crammed and whipped. Missile should be pounding him. 4 ogres left. You know what, we're just gonna add a medium drone here. Looks like he doesn't like my drones too much, but I think we can actually still do enough damage on him. Gonna inject some cap again. And ooh, he's actually getting reps from somewhere, I think. And he's slowly destroying all of my drones. So good job on him there. He's starting to cost me a little bit. I can still get a bit of a rep cycle off. Let's hope it's actually his... let's do an orbit at 2500 here. Let's hope it's his local tank and that I can actually get him in trouble with the neuting. Keep adding drones. Maybe it's gonna be too late for that one. Add some smalls. Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job of getting rid of my drones. But I actually start to think that I'm breaking his tank now. It's still gonna be local. And oh, it's probably the smart bombs that are doing this to me. Still, I've got more drones. And he is down. Good stuff. Alright, we're gonna stop. And then I'm actually going to return everyone. And we'll look for some targets for... we actually got some stuff done. Pretty cool. And we'll look for some targets for the guards. Since we still... oh my god, now I'm taking big hits. That's gonna be a dreadnought hitting me. Come on, try to get a little bit more off on the Armageddon there. Overheat as well, if I can. And I'm down. Alright, so... I didn't take too good of a look at the fight itself, but it was pretty fun fighting with that Legion, losing those drones to the smart bomb. And here we have the Circadian Seekers in the middle of this as well. Let's maybe take a look at that. Activate the tracking camera. So here is the fight. Performance-wise, I'm still at 30 frames per second. That was pretty damn cool on that prophecy there. Yeah, just look at all of the action here. Looks pretty good. And I feel that I can actually watch this pretty decently. Everything felt pretty responsive. Performance is okay, except for those jumps, of course. Not sure what exactly was happening on the jumps. But so far... during the game, it's quite okay. They just need to iron out, I think, the problem specifically on the jumping. to the next system. Although I must say the very first jump was the smoothest I've ever had on a mass test. So here we go. You can actually see a little bit more of the fight at 30 frames per second zoomed in like this. Pretty good. 320 people in local. And the Circadian Seekers must be wondering what we're doing. Pretty cool effect right there. Let's keep a close eye on him. Zoop. And then he's gone. Titan wreck over here. Pretty nice. Must have missed the Doomsdays. So now we're actually starting to see some capital wrecks and stuff here as well. As people probably keep dying and keep coming back. But there you go, guys. That's 50 minutes. Pretty much the full mass tests for you. I'd say it's looking a lot better than previously already. Let's hope that CCP can fine-tune the jumps just a little bit more so we don't have that tie-dye. If they can get rid of that, I think they're right where they need to be. And yeah, hopefully Brady in the Box can indeed bring some better performance to EVE Online. For now, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time.